We're live.
It's alive.
It's life, but not as we know it, Jim. Oh, Tim, you've gone all high definition all of a sudden.
Okay. So this is VUC 600, and we're going to run the intro. But I thought you'd all like to know how much fun we're having here, and the fact that things are a little improvised. And with that, greetings. You've landed at the VUC IP Communications and VoIP community. We would like to thank Simwood.com for their support. Simwood can turn you as a developer into a telco. Our hosted PBX is from OnSIP.com, and you can go to GetOnSIP.com for a URL people can click to call you. We've been privileged over the last 5 years to be using the best conference bridge on the planet. Yes, I'm talking about ZipDX.com, full color, full featured, full HD conference bridge. Our website, vuc.me on the webs, hosted by Bluehost.com. And our worldwide local rate dial-ins are from Voxbone.com. Right, all of that is correct information. Michael, do you have an Astrakhan slide by?
I do have an Astrakhan slide, and this is what we're going to get to before we get into all this other foolishness that's going around today. We should like to remind everybody that Astrakhan is coming September 27th through 29th in Glendale, Arizona. If you deal with Asterisk, then you need to go to Astrakhan, where you will be able to see many of us in a technology-free environment. That is, there will be no technology between you and them. And now, let's see if we have Randy back.
I know you've got my back, so it's fine. But all kidding aside, this is a really special edition. I'm really pleased to be able to tell you that you will not be seeing or hearing much of me because I'm having some issues. Oh, you want the details? No, you really don't. But this is probably the worst day of my life as far as internet and even electric motors. But I don't have a car. Thank God I don't have a car. Wow. And I'm not moving. So, move it on. All right. We have a few special guests coming in. You can't hear me? You can? Oh, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we do hear you. You're fine. If you want to keep talking, I am going to drift off into a private room and grab Mark Spencer. Yes.
Okay, let's see if we can do that.
Actually, I can't do it from a private room because if I do it from a private room, we'll lose it. Yeah, so we'll do it publicly.
So has anyone mentioned that this is 600, by the way?
It was in the slide, I guess.
We were doing a build-up for that, Tim.
Oh, okay. So I let the cat out of the bag. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, it's written everywhere.
All right. So for those of you who have an inability to watch slides like me, it's VUC 600. We've been doing this 600 times.
And Randy's now frozen.
I am extremely distracted now. I'm terribly sorry.
Okay.
I can turn this screen off.
Yeah, that was quite good.
While we have...
You froze just for a second then with a maniacal grin on your face.
Yes, I wish I'd screen capped it.
While we have Randy available, why don't we grab Mark, and then we can bring the Free Switch guys in after that. So Mark's going to be coming in.
Line 3.
Here goes the dial out.
What if he
connecting?
All right. Listen to this technology.
Da, da, da.
Hi, this is Mark Spencer.
Yeah, howling monkeys or something.
Right.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mark Spencer?
Yes.
This is Michael Graves, and I have Randy Resnick and a crowd here at the VoIP Users Conference, and we thought we'd take just a few minutes of your day to remind you how you inspired this silliness.
And to find out
Well,
whether you want
thank
to buy any central heating or double glazing or anything like that. Hello, Mark.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm just joking.
Hello?
It's James in Europe. No,
Hey, James.
hey. I
Yeah,
hope you're not.
wait. And where? I'm
Well, in
sorry.
England.
Did you not see what happened a few days ago? You're not there anymore.
No, we are still very much in Europe. Thank you very much. That's why I stressed it. Some of us are very European.
You know, we're drifting afloat in the
We're
middle of the
drifting off
Atlantic.
Not in Europe anymore. You voted
No.
yourselves off the island. In this case, on the island.
Well, we've got to find ourselves a new prime minister, somebody who's willing to take us out of the EU first. And at the moment, we're having a little bit of difficulty finding somebody.
Hey, I'll do it. Y'all can become the first state here.
I think
Yeah,
that's
that's a good
I
idea.
think that is the plan, actually. And then we can be part of Trumpzilla or whatever it's called.
United States of
Hey,
Trump.
Hey, Mark, it's Randy. Just wanted to say hi. I'm having terrible internet
Hey, Randy.
problems, so I can't really do much on the
Okay.
call. And you're
That's okay. I can't talk long anyway. We're actually in the middle of trying to shoot a video about XFS anyway. So
well. That's great. We won't hold you,
I
Mark.
actually have to use my phone in it. Congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you. Probably the only person at Digium that ever thought it was a good idea.
They've changed their
Well, there
mind,
we go.
haven't they?
They have changed. Well, I don't know. They haven't
yeah.
all changed their minds.
And twisted, Randy.
And Mark, asterisk and what you did, especially in the very early, a lot of things that changed the landscape. I would say, James, you can nod your head if you agree with me, but
I'm nodding now.
asterisk fire. So thank you, Mark.
Yes,
Well,
and
thank you guys very much, and I appreciate it.
Hey, have a good video. You probably didn't want to do that. The stream was fine. It's just not
No,
showing
no.
on the viewer.
No, it didn't. It went down.
The stream is fine. It's just not showing on the viewer. So we had to give the URL.
Our status actually. Our
Shit is
status
impossible to coordinate right now with all this
Sorry,
internet
it's
problems.
all kicking
But
off.
our status, we actually lost the live streaming status in Jitsi, so I restarting it and it just came back.
I was going to say it says live stream.
Now it does. It wasn't.
Now I
2
do
minutes.
see it though.
Wait, Tony.
So,
Yeah.
so Mr. Jerris, what have you been up to recently? Whilst these people fix the roof or the metaphorical roof?
On the free switch side or just in general in life?
Well, in
Well,
general.
either. Whichever's most exciting for us and printable.
On the free switch side, we've been doing just the technical stack up of
It just
issues.
died.
Oh,
Oh, hello. The technical issues related to video and kind of fully fleshing out our video functionality has taken a huge amount of time. I think we're nearing the end of that and getting to all kinds of crazy edge case things like, you know, today it was looking at switching video inactive, send only, and all of that stuff. And getting that working solidly. There's just like 200 different little things. So
yeah, Michael, you have all the fun jobs, don't you?
I mean, those
There
were
I am.
because like a year ago we had video working, and then like it's one thing after another. Hey, I see a little Tony and a little Brian and a little Ken.
Well, not that little.
Well, they're in the little box in the corner. So if I hit their button, oh look.
I think that Brian's overhead camera is really good, apart from one thing, and that is you're losing hair on the top of your head, Brian. Yes, you are. Yeah, what you want is a bit of the old redistribution cream, you know. Take it from certain places. In fact,
I mean,
you need some of the stuff that Michael's got. Whatever
I
it is.
think Tony and I have plenty of hair for you.
Yeah, Tony, you're looking very fine there in your bunker. A reinforced
He has
concrete
a better
roof.
bunker than all of us.
That is it. It's a reinforced concrete roof, and there's over his head.
Brilliant. Look, good.
Yeah.
Right. Where are we going to go now? A mandatory plug for Astricon. And for some reason, we need to do the mandatory plug for ClueCon now, don't we, Ryan?
We just did something else this morning, JB.
What's that?
ClueCon schedule. Schedule. So you can go there and start seeing who all is going to be at ClueCon. We've got some really cool stuff in there.
Yeah, word has it that this ClueCon,
Emil.
it's going to be the best one ever. Yeah.
We even have CME CNC who makes Delta stuff. They are actually bringing one to give away. They'll have I think a half a dozen or.
Cool, so-
Have you got Cisco Meraki doing the Wi-Fi again?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, moving swiftly on. Yeah.
We're doing the Wi-Fi again this year, but and a chance. Windstream coming in, and they're going to be bringing in a full 100 meg for the conference. This is going to be totally outside of the hotel network, and I think we'll have somewhere around, if
So
not more.
You know that we have a mutual friend who about 60 feet of the hotel.
For you to virtually make it in some regards?
Maybe that would be interesting to play. I don't know. No, I mean, I definitely can't get there. I was thinking I might, but it's not going to work. But yeah, no, maybe virtual might be interesting. I'll have to think about what I can do that would work.
It's not set in stone yet. I will let you know.
Okay.
Yeah, let's not.
I'm working on something. Okay.
Actually, we should nail JB down. JB, are you actually going to be there, or do you still not know for sure?
I still have the dates ring-fenced. I do not have a confirmed air passage at this moment in time. However, there is a thing. If I can find somebody else who wants to fly British Airways, I've got a buy one get one free voucher. So, anybody going to Chicago beginning of August?
Yeah, there you go.
British Airways, because
We should have. I mean, I know Dan, Cal, Simon, and Alex have already purchased tickets.
yeah, Dan's going Virgin. He likes the ice creams apparently, but mine's a British Airways. So I need to find somebody who's going British Airways, preferably business.
Just convince Tim to come with.
Yeah, Tim, why don't you come? In fact, if you come, I was looking at the prices, and the business prices are than the economy at the moment for some bizarre reason. So
Dan and Alex both are flying, plus or whatever the heck they call them.
We've I guess that's because everyone is stalling decision making. Nobody knows what the exchange rate is going to do.
Damn these Brexit people.
Well, I have a, I mean, I basically agree with you, James, but I have a contrary view. It's possible, unlikely, but just possible, the outcome of Brexit is that we get some sort of
I'm still not so convinced that
how
Brexit's
busy
even going to happen.
through Europe. So
Yeah,
the
but
2.3 gig band.
but the telcos. So
That is certainly not true, because if it were true, then they wouldn't have had the. No, well, the people.
You're absolutely right that the previous competition commissioner, what's her name, Nelly, the nose, in my view. But anyway,
And yeah,
so-
met my personal.
Headed people.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right, not to get too political, but how many people think that Brexit's actually going to happen? You're going to have to actually be the one to pull the trigger.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Johnson dropped out already. Why?
weeks ago, we were discussing Brexit. He said you're in for paying for it and out for being able to control what happens and
Yeah,
free movement.
I think that's actually the if leaving the EU happens, that may actually be the best deal available on the table at this point. Which probably
it's politically impossible to take that deal though, because it involves free movement, and all of the remaining prime ministerial candidates have said that they won't accept free movement. So
Does
that
it
So
also
how is there
have a
any
bunch of
politically
costs?
possible deal that the UK with access?
Packet loss. Move back to your desk, Mike, because you've managed to maneuver yourself into Wi-Fi spot.
indeed, he's gone.
He's gone. Sunk without trace.
Yeah.
He
I thought
moved.
the Norwegian circumstance still involved quite an expense for not being involved in the end stage decision making as well.
Yeah. Whatever. Well, it will be what it is, but it's something is certainly going to happen, and it's, you know, the problem for me, and I think this is what James was saying, is that it's going to take a while before it's at all clear what's happened. You know, and a while, I think, is probably 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
I think you're right, and I think one of the things that's been annoying me tremendously just recently is all this media focus on uncertainty, and I think there's a kind of a new normal, and you can't be navel gazing about not knowing. You have to just go forward, because the navel gazing about not knowing is more damaging than the reality.
You're absolutely right. And one of the heroes of Brexit so far has been our Canadian Governor of the Bank of England, who stood up and said, the Bank of England will do whatever is necessary to stabilize things. And immediately the markets recovered. So thank you, Canada, for giving us a very, very good...
Yeah, I want the beta blockers he's on.
Maybe not recovered.
You know, the interesting thing, I'm watching Boris Johnson, because we just got through seeing what happens when Toronto had a crazed mayor and kind of, but he didn't, get to move into federal politics. And so it'll be interesting to see, if he gets elevated or if he gets cast aside.
He's cast himself aside. You're behind the times here.
Or it's imploded under the pressure.
And
He got stabbed in the back as well.
yeah, Michael
Well.
Gove stabbed him, but he's a little.
Yeah, not like he's like the greatest guy either. I mean, is Theresa May the new PM at this point? Is there any other?
No. We're some way off. Cameron hasn't actually gone yet, and probably won't until about September time.
No, I don't mean. I don't mean literally. I mean, is she the only one left standing who actually has a chance?
No, well, she's now the favourite. But anything can happen in the next half hour, as they used to say.
But more importantly, the front runner for the Conservative Party leadership has never won since 1950. In the last 65 years, they've always chosen the next somebody else other than the front runner.
Who else is even in the running?
Michael Gove.
I thought he was
they're all pretty useless, actually.
Liam Fox and what's her name? Angela Arendt, is she called or something?
I thought you were going to say Angela Merkel.
I was going to say that she got cast out with the Brexit vote.
No, I can't remember her name, but she's actually done quite well. Anyway, she's made a name for herself recently. Not one I remember.
Do the Conservatives actually hold power through this, or do they lose that too? Like, are the Conservatives split and going in different directions enough that they end up getting hurt by this, or did
the whole country is split at the moment? I mean, look at the Labour parties in
Labour's
meltdown.
an even bigger mess right now, from what I
Yeah.
see. No,
It's total civil war.
I mean, Labour had no balls to even stake a claim in the game, and they look like they're in complete disarray.
And then that's nothing to compare with what it's going to be like next week.
What happens next week?
Report on the Iraq War comes out, and where all of the remaining senior Labour figures get criticised. How did we turn this into British politics week?
I don't know. Well, you know what the answer is? Let's get the National Party as Prime Minister.
Work as well as a coalition government between the Scottish Nationalists and Sinn Féin, right?
Last general election, there was a thing on Radio 4, and they had this Darlin show, Big Gub, which is right in the middle of the Midlands, phoned, and she wanted to know why she because she thought they were the best.
Well,
And,
I mean, candidates in the Midlands.
well, yeah, they probably do quite well.
Anyway, enough of this foolishness.
Well, let's talk about technical things now. What and vaguely technical.
I have an exciting.
Indeed. Now that is exciting. Tim has
Did you get?
principally a demonstration.
This isn't true. This isn't by no means true.
Control of your car.
Wait, Tim, what did you get, and is it full drive-by-wire?
Well, it isn't yet.
So I bought a Citroen. No, it isn't full drive-by-wire. I'm interested to see what I can do on the CAN bus. I haven't got that, so I haven't plugged anything into it yet.
So
So
I'll let you into a little secret, Tim. Last weekend,
What was it?
well, something a bit better than a Citroen Z0, I'll tell you.
It is really seriously quick off the lights. Like,
Well, I think mine will be a bit.
I was quite shocked. I mean, my range drops like a stone if you put my foot down, but it's and then it
how
slows
far
down.
do you drive before you have to recharge? Range isn't that big of a deal, right?
learning the tricks. You kind of have to know where you're going to be today before you. Today's a 20-mile day. I can drive as fast as I like.
Have you not got an engine in there as well?
It is battery only.
It is a pure plug-in electric, right?
Yeah, the salesman. The salesman was salesman pretty much did that and then closed it again. It's like, so literally under the bonnet there's a and that's pretty much it. There's nothing else there. It's like a water fill bottle and a couple of other things.
How ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting vehicle. I'm still
I wonder how it will perform on wet roads. I wonder if well,
it weighs enough.
Does it? Okay.
Because it's got how many lithium batteries?
Only 500 pounds of lithium in the damn thing. Wow.
Right. So
Or if you drive it into a river, then it goes.
I'm sure that the
I kind of hope so, certainly.
Nice thing about this batteries is they all.
Yes, he's interesting. So,
Anyway, my new
bizarrely-
car, my. What do you mean how old-fashioned? It's such a modern car, and I was.
So what is it?
Well, you have to wait and find out. But I hybrids, second generation hybrids, and they were okay, but showroom, and they had one of these things, and both Sophie and I got into it, and we went for a drive. And we were.
So I think that's true. I think the problem with hybrids is that they do neither thing well. You're and when you're driving and a whole set of stuff, and when you're driving, so I think they're neither.
I don't think that's true.
What if you
You're the
drive,
expert, Brian. To this.
I have both 100% electric Nissan Leaf and a 2013. You can definitely tell do certain things correctly.
hey Brian, mute one of those two things?
Let me mute.
There we go.
Here.
By the way, have you done something with the video quality? What?
I can mute you, Brian. Oh, okay, if you don't know.
There we go.
I can see every hair on your chinny chin chin. Really good.
So anyway, tell us about the Leaf versus the.
You can tell, and I'm still. Let me end this one. Hold on. You guys hear me now?
Yep.
You can tell in a vehicle like the Leaf, which is 100% electric, where Nissan really went the extra. Efficiency is great. On the other hand, you have something like the Volt. So you've got the gas generator backup, which I've driven my Volt all the way. Average in the vehicle is 51 miles a gallon. I can drive it for a week and not have to have, like, if I have to go to the airport. And it is efficient because in the Volt, you the gas engine to the drive shaft, I've never experienced it doing that. Not once have I had it do it.
Power boost button.
What was that?
Not even when you does it. The second generation ones that I had to go in both had that button, and I'm sitting next. The problem with a hybrid is it makes you drive like a granny.
Download and hold.
I've got a hybrid truck. I drive it like a normal car. It just gets better mileage in the city. Sport utility vehicle. It's a Ford Escape. I can haul crap cases in it. I mean, I haul half the Clucon stuff in it. It's 30 miles a gallon instead of 24 that the all gas version gets.
30 miles to go.
And the V4 with the electric has the V6 version. When you combine it, that's the one thing that Tim combined using the electric and the gas at the same time. You get that from the start. And the kind of efficiency of gas.
Well, my instinct is that that balance only works on. Maybe wrong.
That may be true. I have a bigger car though.
The plus you get from having is the regen braking. All of that would have been lost. For example, 130 recaptured through regenerative braking. So
Yes,
one
thank you, Formula One, for that.
of all of that.
I'm still playing with this on the C0, but I'm not sure whether the C0 regenerates your foot off the gas. I'm not sure what the deal is there. I'm still, but it certainly regenerates if you take your foot off the gas and kind of slow, and then you see it like filling out. Which is kind of amusing to watch. But I'm hoping, as Mike says, plug into the CAN bus and start extracting kind of weird.
That was one of the reasons why I was doing trials on generation hybrids, because I wanted to find out how easy it is to plug into, and it struggled with some of the more advanced, latest build stuff. But I've got a couple of these little ZTE, whatever they are, made £19.99 4G Android 5.1 handsets, and that went straight in. And at $19.99, I can just afford to just keep that in the car and just
leave
have
it in
permanently,
there.
permanently wired up with a random SIM card in there.
Speaking of random SIM cards, I had a very funny experience this morning. I was programming the Bluetooth in this C0, and I had to delete all the previous pairings. And it was like there were things like the guy who had it before me, because it's secondhand, obviously had he was obviously a geek because he had an iPad, a Yotta phone, and a Nexus 5. Was it a Nexus? I can't remember. Maybe it was a Galaxy 5. I don't remember. But so this list of geek Bluetooth devices, there were 4 of them, which I thought was entertaining. And the Yotta phone. I mean, who the hell has a Yotta phone? For God's sake?
Russians do.
Well, so maybe it was an oligarch's second car. Who knows?
Well,
I wonder what I'll find under the seat.
What's the name of that mad Russian who came to TEDhack in Paris with his shoulder holsters? Do you remember him?
No.
He built his own tech shoulder holsters, so he could wear a jacket and have lots of tech in his shoulder underneath his armpits.
I'm shocked that you don't have that, JB.
No, no, I don't. But I just have a jacket of many pockets with internal wiring loom. In fact, I just happen to have one here. Look.
Do you have a charging system wired into your jacket with like
Yes, I do.
Anchor battery sewn into the base of it?
Is it wireless charging? Can we kind of point a microwave at and charge all your devices?
But it does have. I've got to put that back in there. And internal wiring loom, and it's American.
And it's really
a jacket that were flexible and everything, wouldn't it?
it's critically important not to be behind Homeland Security line.
No, it's not a problem because you just take off your jacket and you put that in the tray, and then I'm completely clean. Walk through.
And they then require you to disassemble it and swab you for explosives. Exactly.
Oh, they have swab.
They take it out the back and destroy it for safely because it's like obviously a dangerous item.
No, that's a little rubbish. But it's okay. It's American. So the only problem is you look a bit like a rather lumpy CIA operative. So what we need to do is a kind of a German street, a bit rather English, probably made out of thorn-proof tweed or something like that. Warm, but you could go hunting in it though. Anyway, getting Ken all excited, and he'll be readying his automatic weapons.
He seems to have left us actually.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
Oh,
Pro computer seat.
he loves that. Fancy with him.
Yeah.
Randy has rejoined us, audio only. It happens.
Right. Well, we appear to be having one of the most ever on the VUC. So,
You're just commenting on that.
but I think we can recover this, and we can ask Tony a question because he's really exciting and incredibly technical. Tony.
Hi.
Why are you an incredibly nice, super wideband Opus or something like that? Yeah, clearly high definition.
I just clicked on the link. I don't think there are any.
Well, I don't know. Oh, you're on.
No, his audio's coming through Jitsi directly.
Switch it out and see which one's better.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. If anybody comes on in narrowbands, they immediately get noticed.
Oh.
Yeah,
Ken may have it jacked up. Try doing it just through the Jitsi one. You're muted.
he's muted on Jitsi Direct, and there we go.
Yeah, that's definitely a bit more wideband, but you've got a microphone which is.
Really is a concrete box.
A pillbox.
Is it designed to be a stress test for noise and echo cancelling in there? It's like, it's
Well, I got one bit of good news.
What's up?
And
My audio is probably not very good. It's a built-in mic, and I can hear the fans running too.
Somewhere between 2011 and 2013 is the peak
Is when they
of
started
MacBook.
doing.
And after that,
Wow, it is 2011. Jeez, interesting. I hit it.
it got better. Like there's no Mac on sale now that I feel is better than.
In their
I
defense,
feel uncomfortable. You know what, my dear
Michael,
darling wife.
Your
this
camera.
honors, so that's her. Yeah, I know. Yeah, and she's got a job as well.
Wow.
been better. It just hasn't been better for this audience, and that is going to the super, still have the menus, the software all around you without resorting to multiple monitors, particularly on laptops. That was
MacBook.
And I remember you doing that, and
Yeah.
and I thought,
I've got, it's still daily use, great machine, and get the latest processors are like enough to drag me over to the next one.
Retina one, when they come out with the Skylarks or whatever the hell the new processors are, at I don't know what the heck I have in here, 8, I think. The processor, it doesn't make any sense. I am sick of carrying the 17-inch. It's
Right.
yeah, 17 is too big.
I have a theory that's on it. The bottom end of the range, they'll
I'm not sure I
ship
like
the iPad processor in.
terribly thin. It's got no connectivity.
the
Nothing
regular MacBook, the USB, as I would, but it's perfect for her. And it's super. She'll be in bed reading on it, and when she's done, she just closes the lid and throws it on the nightstand. If Apple finally figured out how to do the touchscreen tablet / computer, there wouldn't be any competition anymore. They Surface did, and they would be winning that market again. But the fact is, it's not worth the R&D money for them anymore.
Right.
I mean, they make their money on phone. They're not going to move as fast on computers anymore because.
Right.
Plus we've had this. There is a kind of a practical reality that we're not seeing the massive requirement for more CPU, more memory kind of stuff. I mean, it's incremental. Things benefit from bigger systems, but at the consumer end, gamers and VR better tech. The average person doesn't really need it. My 3-year-old Lenovo X1 Carbon, they said, if you've got a computer that's reasonably current, SSD, decent amount, serviceable for a while, right?
I've got a 6-year-old MacBook Pro with 8 gigs of RAM, which I'd rather have 16, but it's got a 2.6 i7. I mean, what do I really need? And I did upgrade it to an SSD. So it's a dual core. I mean, now if I buy one, what's it going to be, a quad or an 8 core?
Not for laptop.
Are the Skylark are going to be quads probably? So
yeah,
roughly this computer with modern CPUs, quad core, probably same sort of speed, 16 to 32 gigs of RAM, and Retina screen and the Force Touch blah 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 bullshit. It will last me another 5, 6, 7 years like this one has. I mean.
Well, except that you won't be able to upgrade it. There'll be like when the Super SSD comes out or the bloody blah comes out, you won't be able to do the upgrades that you've done to extend the life of this one. So this is one of the things that's bugging me is that you can't. None of this stuff is going to be upgradable at all.
Are they not swappable drives in the newer ones?
I don't think so. I think they're soldered on.
Some of them. No, some of them are soldered on, but some are the new M2 format where you can get, like my Lenovo is a little M2 drive. You can get inside of it and you can switch the drive out. And interestingly enough, the 4G radio, or the place for the 4G radio in it, is also an M2 slot, which means that you can add a second SSD if you're willing to take it apart.
I mean, my take on RAM is, other than the cost, if the RAM actually goes bad, which happens incredibly rarely, they'd be better off just maxing out the RAM you can put on the board and calling it a day.
Yep.
Because the only reason I upgraded this one to 8 was because I was cheap when it came out and only got cold.
Right.
If you had 32 gigs of RAM on board on the motherboard, you need slot. Just freaking solder it on and call it a day. And if the RAM goes bad, you replace a motherboard. If it happens, what, 1% of the time you actually have a RAM failure? Probably not even that.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I mean, I noticed that I managed to get an extra year of life out of a couple of machines by upgrading them, and that's not going to be possible in the near future.
Adding the SSD on this one gave me another 2 years probably, which is huge. But I think Michael's right. I think Moore's law is dead, and we're in incremental times, and the difference over even 6 or 7 years is going to be small enough that it's not going to matter.
In my last laptop, I managed to get, when my employer decided they didn't want to buy me a new one, they were going to eke another year or two out of it. I managed to make that, next year or two a little more enjoyable by replacing the keyboard, switching out the hard drive for an SSD, and going from, I think, 8 gig of memory to 16 gig of memory.
Replacing the keyboard just because you had worn through the keys, I could probably use that on this one. I've got a hole.
Yeah, and that's remarkably cheap. It's like under $20 to do that in most cases, and you end up with, as long as the display is good and the fan's still working, you have a machine that's serviceable again for a while and doesn't make you hate it.
Mine, like my MacBook Pro, like the corners are dinged, like it's been dropped. The aluminum stands up surprisingly well to being dropped from 2 or 3 feet off the ground and being hard surfaces. I'm shocked, actually.
So here's a nice story. Dude ran over in his wheelchair, my original MacBook Air. And it survived, to my amusement.
I can understand why.
It broke a hinge, but other than that.
I mean, the original MacBook Air was physically a little bit janky. I mean, I've got yours around here somewhere, Tony. It was not built so well. It's in my pocket.
Yeah, no, there was a lot wrong with it. That little flappy door on the USB port. I always expected that to go first, but it turned out not to. It was the hinge that went rather than the flappy door. And then the batteries exploded.
That sounds bad.
Yeah.
Are you done with Burning Man, or are you just taking a few years off?
I'm probably going this year, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So my friend who did this sculpture behind me thinks that she's got a place there. I haven't seen the paperwork yet, but if she goes, then I may have to go to make the software work. So that'll be fun.
So I'm definitely not going this year, but we've been at least discussing doing next year. So.
You're definitely not going this year? Because?
Just the logistics with kids at home and everything becomes complicated. It takes a little bit more planning than that.
Yeah.
My wife just did the regional variant here a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, no, I need a project to go with and to do. I'm not interested in going just for the fun of it. I need a little motivation. But this thing is kind of fun. It's a big IoT project.
Is anyone still doing the GSM stuff there, or did that die?
No, it's not to my knowledge. I don't think anybody's applied for a license that I know of this year. It's kind of less necessary now, to be honest, because like everyone's got, like if you can get a Wi-Fi signal, you can just use Viber or Skype or whatever on your phones. And so providing Wi-Fi actually fills that niche, not completely, but to a large extent.
Are people just doing satellite backhaul and throwing Wi-Fi up, or how are they doing it?
No, so there's a whole somebody I think it's a combination of a donor and the org, Burning Man org, run a relatively fat pipe from the nearest town microwave link, and then and then from that central point, you can get, if you sign up for it, you can point your what is it, Ubiquiti Nano thing at that, and you'll get a half a megabit or something.
From like a Gigi from Gerlach, and they put up a permanent microwave in Gerlach.
Yeah, but the problem is that they can't actually get, like, that link is faster than the uplink from Gerlach to, like, basically they max out all of the available bandwidth in the valley. So there isn't much spare, basically.
But someone has a permanent microwave that they just repoint every year in Gerlach now?
I guess. I mean, I've never looked into that end of it. As far as the camps are concerned, if you've got the right, the right Ubiquiti device, and you put your MAC address in their database, then you end up with like half a gig link. No, a lot less than that. Trying to think how much it was, but you get a reasonable link over that to their central point, but it gets bottlenecked on the way out.
Yeah, that's surprising.
But so I'll probably end up doing that.
Hey, can you hit this one?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Tim,
I'm on Zoom DX. I had a really interesting
Whoa, echo
discussion.
Oh,
Really?
Say that again.
All right,
that was Tim.
Yeah, echo gone.
Who's got the echo?
Is that working?
I just wanted to say that
probably was me echoing.
I just wanted to say that I got out of the certificate problem by turning IPv6 off. I don't know what that means, but there it is.
That's interesting.
This seems like some kind of a bug in Chrome, doesn't it? Because it just appeared all of a sudden out of nowhere, and it only affected certain people.
And not
Or is that
What was
stuff
the bug?
cached? Or is that stuff cached somewhere? The thing where it says you're using HSC, and we can't let you see this.
That sounds like IPv6 screwed up on the server side of this one.
Could be
Well, it
anything. Could be
also,
my provider,
affected
too. But I never got
100%
that.
of
I
all
never got that
users
message on DSL.
using free LTE or free.
Well, free the home service. I mean, they've always had a IPv6. They've had it for years and years. I also have to notice that I have to turn it off to use HBO and stuff like that a lot of times.
But that doesn't mean that it continues.
Looks like I'm having issues on my LTE now.
No, I think that's JB's bandwidth going to hell.
JB's got stuck there with his mouth open, which isn't good. It's frozen in mid.
So I wanted to toast the VUC 600, but I've got nothing left here. I got to go get more.
Yeah, well, send me one as well, because there doesn't appear to be any alcohol in this house at the moment. Just like sad admission. Speaking of, I probably better go and cook something. Otherwise, we will be hungry. So, see you guys. And 600 of something. I'm not sure this was the best of our ever, but there you go. I'll see you next week, maybe. Adios.
You guys know you can come visit us on Wednesdays too, right?
Yeah, we know that.
You know that.
Never visit.
We had Randy visit.
Okay, I found out what the issue is.
Tim is gone.
I found out what the issue is. My MacBook
Air has totally run out of disk. And so it's just doing some very, very weird, undocumented things. So I've got to clear out a bit of disk, and everything will be all right. And this is why I'm now on ZipDX.
So, Ken, how are you connected?
I am connected, actually, on my side over here. I am on FreeSwitch on this side with Brian. And then that's going to another machine that has Blackmagic and some other mess in it running into JVB.
So you're using a capture card.
Audio patch and video capture equipment.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious, because you obviously have an image that's composed. Looks pretty good. It was looking a little sketchy when you first came on. I mean, who knows? The way I'm set up right now, it's a miracle I got anything.
Yeah, so I'm getting into the Amazon cluster there where the video bridge is running. I'm getting some really bad packet loss at this point going out to there. But otherwise, it seems to be doing pretty good. And it looks like it's at Go figure.
The funny thing about today that is kind of a universal concern. I'm on this camera now, which I'm getting some echo back here, but I guess we can live with it, is that I have 2 backups. So the DSL is screwed up right now, but that's okay. That's why I have this thing and my phone. And I could not get either one to work. The phone wouldn't connect to anything. It wouldn't even connect to HSPA for a while. I had to reboot all these. But anyway, the point is, no matter how many devices you have and how many pathways, I don't know what the problem was, but I just could not get connected to anything. So there it is.
Where I'm at is just like super rural. So, I mean, I'm lucky to get 1 bar of AT&T LTE, maybe 2 of their FOG. That's FAUXG service. And get that to work. I mean, since they rolled out LTE in the area, it's just been horrible. And don't even bother with one of the other wireless carriers or a cable company or even AT&T DSL. We're out of range.
How long have you had LTE? When you moved out there was nothing, right?
No, they had LTE out here, but they've since. The town north of us has been growing leaps over bounds. So when they rolled out the LTE, the voice over LTE service, they pointed like 80% of the bandwidth north. So as I approach the tower, I get really crappy throughput. But once I pass to the north side of the tower and get on one of the northern facing antennas, the bandwidth goes up to like 100 meg throughput.
But wait, why would they do it that way? Since if you're in a lower population area, they might as well just leave the damn thing because you're not going to use that much, right? That would be my logic.
Yeah, well, what it seems what they did is they just took all the bandwidth and allocated it, because what they usually do on those towers is they set up, sector antennas, and they sector radios, and they just allocated more bandwidth for those. It seems like it's really weird, but I know a bit about how they're doing their fiber backhaul there. They probably didn't have enough bandwidth coming out of the tower to leave us the additional bandwidth without potentially starving where they've got more subscribers. So it's one of those things that we have to deal with. Rumor has it one of these days, AT&T, one of these days in the near future, AT&T is going to be running fiber to the home out here. So we're waiting to see how that works out.
Wow. Out there.
Which is crazy because I can't get that. I can't even get
areas north and west of us, which I wouldn't think they would have done. But apparently they got some grant money, and they're kicking it in there pretty hard. So it'll be interesting to see if they actually do that. And but they've been laying fiber bad around here.
What were you saying, Michael?
it's strange that they get fiber to the home out there where I'm in an urban area and I can't even get DSL. That's even a meg. Now I'm
Well-
32,000 wire feet, so I guess that's one of the problems. But
Around here, they don't like to run fiber. They won't run fiber into an individual home, which is why VDSL, when it works, is a really good thing because it's basically going to the cabinet, I guess. But that's now. I mean, we're in a transition period here. And I think maybe there'll be a new technology come along that will fix the rural issue.
hey, Tony, I think that's you.
Tony has
Some
a
of the ones we do that, cyclone, echo.
Yeah, it's Tony.
I don't engage the Echo Counselor when I turn on this app, I guess.
What was the reason why James is now only on ZipTX now?
Because my Mac has run out of hard disk and it's doing all kinds of strange things. So I've got to free up a bit of disk and then reboot everything.
I gotta turn on the Echo Counselor.
Is there a way to do it? It's weird because I'm called in.
I'll go follow the other one and it won't be echoing anymore.
But he did such a fine job in the beginning.
Yeah, Chrome actually has a thing with the Echo Canceller where after a while it'll just get itself into a weird mode and just.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, I was talking about his full disk and the fact that he was able to keep the discussion going. But yeah, Chrome, that happens all the time.
Yeah, I found one lately in Chrome too where
Seen that on ours.
out of sync audio and video.
Get that a lot.
Yeah, you do the hang up and call right back, and it's in sync then. So it's like, really, Chrome, come on.
Well, I just rebooted every device in the house, just about. Not the router, because I already did that earlier today. We have a problem here. We're really lucky that, you know, the government has forced the people who own the infrastructure, and that's actually me, the taxpayers. But anyway, the operator was forced to lease it out to anybody who wants to, who can provide, I suppose, some kind of money. But so there's all this competition here, and that's all great. But the problem is that the lines are still maintained by the same people. So when I have an issue like I have today, and this has been happening recently a lot, when they're working on it or something, we get really high noise, and then I still have a download of like 6 megs, which is great. I mean, 60 megabits. But the upload is tiny. It's not even good enough for G729. It's like 12K or something. That's why I'm on LTE today.
Yeah. That seems to happen a lot. I see that a lot on LTE.
No, the LTE is actually pretty good, but it's the DSL that's down to nothing. And a lot of people won't notice because they're not doing any uploading either. So most people wouldn't care because we have a very large, I mean, the download is fantastic. 60 megs, 70 megs, megabits, of course, but still. Very few things on the internet will give you more than 4 or 5 megs anyway.
What?
I've never
You don't download from our stuff very often.
well, I've never gotten the ceiling on big CDNs, for example.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to do multiple connections depending on what you're talking to, because a lot of stuff limits per connection. But what's that thing you guys use, Ken?
Axel. Check out the Axel client on download client on Linux. You get to tell it how many threads that you want to pull something with. So if you're pulling a 1 gig file, you can say pull 20 streams at a time, and it's intelligent. So for each stream, it'll do a new DNS lookup. So if there's multiple mirrors of it, it'll pull them from the different locations, and you can literally saturate. I've saturated gig E-links with it. And
Well, if I'm doing news groups,
testing.
NZB, we got 40 to 50 simultaneous. Yeah, that goes pretty quick, but it still doesn't completely top out or whatever you say. It doesn't completely use all the connect, which is good. That's fine. It used to take, if you have a TV show that's 45 minutes, 42 minutes long, it used to take 15 minutes to download that. Of course, they're a little smaller now. I guess compression's gotten better, but often it takes like 1 minute.
Yeah, the H.264, I think, people have gotten better at implementing it and making it work. I don't think they've gotten it, better at really compressing, but they've gotten better at figuring out the right settings that still work real good and still look good. So, I mean, Tony's had to do a lot with that for us, so it's worked pretty good. And I know I did a video, Suzanne Bowen, you guys know her. She did an interview of Tony and Tony and Brian the other day, and we got it down to about 4 gig for a 50-minute video. That's not too bad.
Wow, that's pretty good. I'm showing what you used to listen to music on 100 years ago in the pioneer days. 512 meg. Yeah, a creative. What were these even called? MP3 player, I guess. Right. 512 megs.
They're like an old iPhone.
Isn't that crazy? And it still works. James is connected. Excellent. You got a frame rate of about 1 so far. That's literally like 0.01.
He's doing the college movie editing there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to do something bold. I'm going to stop the stream and start it again in a few minutes.
That's bold.
I have to say it's
monitoring the live stream, and we've got a picture of you with a thing that says this stream is offline at the moment.
Yeah, but it should come back on.
Oh, look, it's just come back on, and it's me.
It's come back on. How about that? Hey, welcome to VC600. I am talking to you over a lovely Huawei MiFi LTE connection. But nobody said anything about my sync. Is my video and audio almost in sync? Pretty much, huh?
Well, when you get both, yeah.
Just for that, I'm going to punish you by turning my video off, but I'll turn it back. Oh, and I have to do the follow me. Is that happening now? Enable follow me. So follow me.
That's working fine.
Okay. I'm getting really good signal right now. This is great, but LTE is so variable, obviously. That so what was talked about, James? Andy asked you a question. What was talked about before? What topics have been covered?
Well, we talked about electric cars. Tim has bought himself a new electric car, and I suggested that this might be in preparation for a dangerous demo. And he went, "Oh no, no, no!" And I was thinking, "Yes, yes, yes."
What, hacking his car? Did you heard about the fact that, and this story happened in May, but it was only released yesterday? That there was the first fatality with an auto-driving car.
It was a very unfortunate scenario, and it's a sort of scenario where the driver, the human driver, probably would have been killed anyway if he was just driving. Yeah. So it's a truck came in from a side, didn't it? And because the sun was behind the truck, the camera didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't know if that was my impression. One of the articles I read said that the human driver didn't see it. Now,
they've also said he was watching a movie at the time.
Yeah, on the other hand, I was going to say, Michael, I was going to say, we don't really know what he was doing, but he had posted a bunch of stuff on Facebook or someplace showing how he was doing all kinds of other things. A little bit of overconfidence there, but that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate, and certainly unfortunately for him and his family, and that's horrible. I don't mean to make fun of it, but on the other hand, I'm a little scared of that whole thing, because that phenomenon, which is fascinating, and believe me, I'd be the first person to want to have a car that drove itself. I hate driving, but I'm just not sure how good. I'm amazed that they even are doing that actually now.
Well, at the end of the day, just driving down a road is a dangerous thing to do.
So
Of course.
The other thing to realize is that's the first fatal accident with auto drive out of 130 million miles driven.
That's what they say, yeah.
The U.S. Average is
93 or something, yeah.
3-4
That was
miles. In worldwide, it's more like 60. So considering that they call it a driving assist, not like autopilot, full automatic, and even though this guy was not treating it like that, that's the first time in 50% more than normal. I think it saves lives even if people use it improperly. I mean, that's what the stats are so far. Obviously, we're nowhere near enough.
And
Where it really gets to start to save lives, though, is when everybody is driving around with these assistants on.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably even safer then, because you take out the human element, don't you?
Yeah. Mind you,
Yeah,
I don't think once everything's automated and you go onto a highway or a motorway, and the cars are all essentially talking to each other and traveling about 3 feet apart, then I don't want to see. That just seems like
It's when you black out the windshield at that point.
Yeah, you do pretty much.
So you're telling me that you think that your driving is safer than the Tesla autopilot thing?
No, I just don't want to see it.
I guarantee you mine's not.
So I'd be quite happy to sign up and use a Tesla autopilot, because it's got to be safer than some kind of wet biological computer thing up here controlling.
Well, it's on the case 24/7. At exactly the same level, whereas people's attention levels and skill levels vary all the time with all sorts of things.
Indeed. And the optimum actually is to have both computerized and human systems working in tandem.
Yep.
One checking the other.
Also true. So how are they doing this if there's something happens with the appreciation or the whatever they're using? My point being, like in the space program, I've heard that sort of in parallel watching things, and they make sure that at least two of them, they go with the thing that the two of them, is that fiction? I don't know. Not even sure. But wasn't there a voting system? Is that NASA does that or something?
Yes.
Yeah, there is.
And the Airbus does that.
Yeah, I was going to say Airbus is 3. Yeah.
And if you have to.
No, but I mean, I'm talking about the decision process now.
Well, that's right. And they're voting. And so if you get one that goes wrong, then it just gets outvoted.
Obviously, that could happen. I mean, just as a stupid example, the fan will come on from time to time out of nowhere. And so I know it's some kind of a weird thing with the SMC or SMB controller, whatever that thing is. And you have to reset it. But the point is, it's a sensor error of some kind, because it's not going on because it's hot. It's just random. And that could happen in a car, right? And that could be fatal in a car if it did.
There's so many risks in everything we do.
Yeah. Well, no, that's certainly true, but that's almost a little fatalistic, James, at the same time. Because it's like, well, whatever you do, you're fucked, you're going to die. So that's true, too.
I think there's a pretty good chance that eventually we're all going to die. But you can reduce the risk. And yesterday I went and listened to a lecture from a guy who was a troop commander of an armoured troop of tanks in Normandy. And his life expectancy when he arrived was 2 weeks. And he got right the way through the war. And he was explaining how he managed to do it. And a lot of it was to do with his own personal strategies. He worked out how to do things that the Germans weren't expecting. Like, for example, whenever you you met a German, you just fired all weapons, everything you could, irrespective of whether you could stood a chance of hitting him or not, because the Germans weren't expecting that. So, for example, do things that the enemy doesn't expect. And I like that. I thought he was brilliant. So that's killed the conversation, isn't it?
Mainly because I can't say what I was thinking.
Well, I'm going to go and see another lecture tomorrow. And the guy I'm going to see was awarded a Knight's Cross by Rommel in the desert for killing 24 British tanks at the Battle of El Alamein with a Russian anti-tank gun. And I think he's going to be quite an interesting chap. Don't you? Well, maybe.
Have you introduced him to the other bloke whose lecture you read?
No, I don't think that'd be a good idea because the old guy we had yesterday, he was a bit explaining about slotting Germans and things like that. So he clearly wasn't a. He probably voted for Brexit as well.
Yes,
didn't he?
I was thinking that.
Yeah, I think he probably did. He'd be driving his tank, and at the age of 95, there he was, perched on top of a Sherman tank, bombing around a field. You think, if he falls off, he's dead. Yeah, lunacy.
Yeah, but he'd have gone doing something he was enjoying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Also in the news today, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie have been sighted looking around the Pitt Rivers estate in Tollard Royal, opposite Guy Ritchie's place. So yeah, we could have Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie here in the valley. That's exciting, isn't it? And then he could come and he could drive his Sherman tank too. What do you think?
Has he got one?
Well, no, he had a Sherman tank for the film Fury.
Oh, right.
Have you not seen that?
No, it's a film. What do I want to watch things like that for?
Oh, it's good. It's got tanks in it. And they got the one and only operational Tiger tank from Bovington. And it was in this film. I shan't spoil it for you, but there was a bit of a duel between kind of 4 Shermans and a Tiger. All very exciting. And it was the real live Tiger. And the guy who drove it was there yesterday, and he was explaining what they had to do for the film thing. So it looked as though this Tiger was going across fields, but it wasn't. It was actually driving across a concrete road, and they sprinkled a bit of dirt across the top to make it look as though it's going across a field, because this thing's so valuable they couldn't afford to damage it. So there. Anyway, changing the subject.
So what conversations other conversations have we had? Can't just be electric cars, surely.
Well, I said I bought a car as well.
Yeah, well, you never said what you bought.
Yeah, it's a bit embarrassing, really.
No, it's not. He bought a hairdresser's car.
It's not a hairdresser's car.
What did you buy?
He bought a Toyota Aygo.
Aygo pure.
The fuck
white,
is
with alloy wheels. I'm going to look it up now. Toyota Aygo, and you go, oh my god, that's a hairdresser's car. But it's a huge amount of fun, and it's got some pretty good electronics in it, and a reversing camera, and sensors.
Has he got a dash cam?
It will have by the time I finish with it.
Does the reversing camera record when you're driving, so you can see who hit you up the back?
As standard, no, but I'm sure it can all be hacked.
I bought the Garmin GPS with the dash cam built in, and I can wire in a reversing camera for that. It's a few $100.
And it does 75 miles to the gallon, and it's the CO2 emissions are so low that it's tax free. There's no road tax on it, and it's insurance group 1, and one being the lowest on the planet.
I don't know what that means. We don't have such things here, at least not that the insurance companies tell us.
It means they almost pay you to drive it.
Exactly, and it means I can put a 17-year-old son in it, and afford to pay the insurance.
Yeah, they don't have that in the U.S. either.
What's that? Insurance.
Affordable insurance for teenagers. I
No,
think
it just doesn't work, does it?
my 19-year-old finally gets her license. It costs me another $1,500 or $2,000 a year
Yeah, that's about right.
to add her, not another car, to add her to my policy.
Yeah, my 18-year-old son, his insurance is like $2,500 a year, just for him.
And if I add another car, it's another $1,500 a year. I don't even think that's with collision.
So are insurance premiums in the US loaded depending on where you live as well?
The state rules are very different. Michigan's the most expensive insurance in the country,
Right.
which is
But it-
weird.
Where you
Given
live, and it
a lot of
the area that you live into, they vary from area to area. So like where I live, it's pretty cheap. But if I tell them I go to Memphis every day, then there's a huge amount of uninsured drivers there, so they automatically double my rates.
Yeah, in Michigan, I mean, there are uninsured drivers, but you need no fault insurance at the very least,
So they
or they'll impound your car if they pull you over. Like if you're driving without insurance, they will take your car until you can prove you have insurance.
Yeah, they won't do that in Tennessee. What they'll do is they'll write you a mandatory court citation where you're supposed to show up and show them that you've got insurance, but they'll keep writing you that ticket until you do get it, and it's like $500 a pop. So they want to write as many of them